Is
it your first one?
No, but it's my first one with you.
Oh yeah, well, congratulations. Phil.
You have unlocked the achievement, Sveta.
Yeah, it's definitely the first one for me.
Yeah, true. How do you feel?
Weird, a little bit.
It is so weird. I'm still getting used to it. I mean, I've been kind of living online for like 2 years now or more, and it's still weird. And live streaming is this whole other thing as well.
But do you feel like you start to understand better how you should talk to people to be more clear and like to get the floor and be interesting? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, still, it's different.
Definitely. It's because you're not just talking to one person, but anyone could be watching.
Yeah, but I think it's pretty hard, to be clear. Like every time I hear people analyzing some social, like Instagram pages and so on, one of the biggest things, you are not clear for people who just come up to your page and they just don't know what you're doing and why you're here, those kind of things. So you always have this perception in your head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think I've always struggled a little bit to communicate clearly because my mind is going like 1,000 miles per hour on 5 different tracks, and I have to make sure that I bring people with me when I express what I mean.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Really hard. Really hard.
What's your struggle? Is it like you think faster than you speak?
Yeah, and then I don't really, I mean, it's so hard for me to, it feels like it's not even important for me that people understand what I'm saying, because it's kind of, I'm just rolling in my own mind and I'm enjoying the whole process, because I think that once I will start to be more clear, it will stop the whole mind process inside my head. And it's like, if you spend so much time to talk, read, develop, then it's so many connections inside your brain. And then to start from the very beginning and explain people how you come to what and so on. And it's like, I respect those people, but I don't have enough patience. See, that's why probably I really love my friends. I don't have to explain them. It's like dating. Like, you don't want to explain your biography, like after 5 years of relationship start with like,
God,
what color do you want? Which color do you like? And you're like, color? You're starting with color again.
But I love to use that as a fun icebreaker, because I tend to dive in with really deep talk and I get to know people really quickly, and we're like talking about all our vulnerabilities and all this stuff, and then randomly I'll just be like, and what's your favorite color, by the way?
Or what is your name, finally? Sorry, I don't know what is your moral principles, but can we come back? Where do you live?
Like, so you, anarchistic, beautiful victim of abuse, what's your name again?
Well, what can
I really look forward to like technology being able to sync more with our minds, and then maybe we'll be able to express things non-verbally in a better way.
You think that will make your life easier?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have so much hell inside their brain, they don't want anyone to know what's going on there.
True.
Like sometimes it's better to not be understood than to make people really see what you're thinking in reality. I guess we have a lot of self-censorship, and maybe it's good, because once it's not going to be under our control, so many people are going to be judged by just having some wrong thoughts or wrong concept inside their brain. I'm not sure it's good, but it's maybe interesting.
Yeah, I think you definitely have to have the ability to censor it still, not just have like your thoughts on a screen.
Yeah, sure, you're adjusting yourself with the person you're talking to. Like, you cannot just I mean, I don't know, I'm not that person who is the loudest in the group telling my own opinion. I'm always trying to adjust to the like values of the group we are talking in, and like, what do they know, what are main fears. Somehow you cannot talk with everyone about anything, because you have to limit yourself to this a little bit. At least politically, for sure. I don't know about moral things. Also, probably, when you're between religious group of people, then I am definitely self-censoring myself because I know that some topics can be really sensitive and people are not able to talk to. So I don't know whether it's good or bad. Maybe you should destroy everyone and and challenge them with your aggressive thoughts.
Yeah. Oh, I had a thought. What was it? By the way, I'm typing your show notes. You can also view them. Yeah, have you heard of neurofeedback?
No.
It's this really cool thing, especially used for people with certain diagnoses or recommendations from a doctor, like for ADHD or there's other stuff as well. Just brain things where the doctor thinks it could help, but actually I think it's good for everyone. You have brain sensors and you can see your own brain on a screen, and then you get given certain exercises to do and you're seeing how your brain responds. So it's like basically showing a mirror to your brain and getting it to adjust to how it's acting itself. So it's like a very fast way to like deeply improve the way you're thinking. I think it's super cool. And I just thought,
what does it give you? Like, what can you do after that? For example, what, for some topics, your brain is like, what? You don't want to talk about it, or you feel fear? Which kind of result can you get?
I think it's largely for focus and clarity. But I want to do it myself and see what happens.
But do you know anyone who got that?
No, this guy is selling a program. This Dave Asprey, one of my biohacking idols, he sells this service program thing at his luxury complex where they have special neurofeedback machines and a design program, and he calls it 40 years of Zen because he says that it's equivalent to meditating for, I don't know, it's supposed to be like meditating for years and years.
Story about meditation.
Tell me.
I really think that the story worth making a movie out of that. I'm really thinking to type somebody as a pinch that story to make a movie. So lately I went to some place like meditation retreat trip for just 2 days, and I'm not sure how to describe the religious line. Unfortunately, I was not that good to remember the name, but there's some line of Buddhism. So they were talking a lot about Buddha, about Buddhism, which I knew a lot, but I wanted to improve my meditation skills, understand a little better. I also liked a lot how they're doing yoga, so much concentration on the way you breathe. There's those kind of small things. And we were discussing after that with the guy who I went with. I just share my opinion about things, like what they talk about, the values, principles, and what did I saw. Like, for example, I saw sometimes that person is talking a lot about, I don't know, mental clearness or physical clearness, and at the same time I saw that person's car and I saw that was not that clean, and then it's for me kind of controversial. Is it really important for you, or you just your idea about yourself? And then he told me the story that it was one guy who grew up in a Muslim family, and he realized that in pretty young age that he's homosexual, and it was of course not accepted, and he wanted to do some music or something, and none of that was supported by the family. So at some point of his life he decided to go deeper in Buddhism and meditation and all of those kind of practices, and inside the religious how could I say, community, he even grew up on the hierarchy. So he was almost something like guru type. So for you to understand, they're meditating 5 times a day, sometimes even 3 hours morning meditation. I was waking up at 5. But it's super chilled, you can go whenever you want, nobody's forcing you to do something. But still, it's honest thing. It's not you just praying once per day or something. And that guy went almost on the level of guru or something, and even had some missionary trip to Malta, or some other European countries. I don't want to make hints for people to meet him. And this guy said that it was his friend. It is still his friend. He went on some rave party with them. And guess what? After 15 years or something of meditation, deep spiritual work, and so for you to stand on the level of guru, you have to be asexual, consciously asexual, because you're choosing to be married to religion, something. So he's going on the rave, and meeting a man, quitting the whole thing, and like getting engaged, and like getting the work and you know. And I was listening to that. I'm like, it's kind of frustrating from my side. I'm so happy for him that he finally, and it's a big decision, right? To quit thing you spend so much time. And I don't think he quit the whole spiritual life. But that 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 made me think about what is more important, spiritual life. Is it really like, because what I see behind meditation practices is like my connection to my unconsciousness, where you can get so much endless amount of love or something. But then I see these kind of stories and understand that the person who loves you gives you the whole world. Like you don't need anything else but just that, you know, just the person who loves you, who looks at you with a, you know, to build the whole this energy around you. And that's so much more bigger, and it's so much more important. I was thinking that, was it like that he felt so alone and cold in even that community, that one person changed so much, everything for him, that was worth it to quit and just live kind of normal life, not be any more gurus, don't give lectures about spiritual life, but just enjoy your life with the person you love. What do you think? Is it frustrating or it's a happy story? I don't know. Because it's kind of frustrating for me. I will never reach that level of meditation like he did, for sure.
How do you know that, though?
I mean, the way they meditate, for example, they have some mantra they are repeating all of the time that helps you, like you're closing your eyes and you don't have anything which takes your attention, and then you're repeating that, and that builds some feelings inside. For me, on this level, I'm still like, you know, dog whispering my dragon inside my brain, because I'm like trying, okay, I'm sitting on the mountain, I'm looking at the sky, I'm trying to relax, and then my mind goes some other direction, and after 2 minutes I don't know where, I'm back to Russia with my mom fighting. I'm like, no, that's not where I'm supposed to be, come back, mountain, sky. And that's for me, like all these meditation was more like I was trying to like ground myself. Of course, they are all not on that level. And that was also interesting for me. I asked him, like, how do you see your own meditation? Like, what is it for you? Because for me, it's still a little bit hard and annoying. I have to force myself to do that, you know? I don't have this. And what he said is that, he said, have you been to Delhi or Mexico City? And I was like, yeah, well. And he's like, it's so chaos, it's so much activities, it's dust, it's sound, it's everything. And then you're coming home, and it's cozy, and you relax, and you take a shower, and you just relax. And for me, meditation is that. And that's like, he compared it to this kind of feeling, like, wow, yeah, that's something. Like, of course, for me, it's not like this. I'm still in the chaos. I'm not. I didn't went to my house yet, but I'm on that way.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Well, I don't know. I will tell you after a few years, when I will be meditating 5 times a day, whether it will change me or not. Maybe it will.
Yeah, I definitely also know what he means basically with this experience of meditation. It's like coming home whenever you are. I mean, that's like the goal. I don't know if I'm there already myself, but I've experienced it, and it's just so nice. And I also think it's quite common that a lot of these gurus or like spiritual experts end up coming full circle back into a normal life. Like, you know, also Jay Shetty, he was this like crazy pro-Buddhist monk, and he's decided now to be one of these experts in the economy, creating content and living a normal capitalistic life, but he still brings like this depth back into it. So yeah, I mean, also someone said it's not about getting good at meditation, it's about getting good at life. It's so interesting.
Yeah, maybe when you're going deep in spiritual life, you're just escaping your own life in so many ways.
Yeah.
Lately, I read something nice, you know, that it's so popular now on Instagram to share different types of, it's just not Instagram, like everywhere. It's just about psychology, about trauma, about narcissist, and so on. And lately I read one woman's post, and she said, guys, if you keep analyzing your childhood, your life all the time, the only thing you do is just avoiding to make a decision, which you really need to do. And it's like, we are living in a perfect world, and you will never be right, and it's fine like this, not just, you know. And I was like, yeah, right. I mean, it's just a way of not being able making decisions. It's just thinking you can just draw in this whole search for your childhood traumas and just never come up and do something. I don't know.
Yeah, this is also it ties back into your deepest beliefs, like what is life about? If you're a super spiritual person, you think you're only here as a soul to achieve some spiritual purpose, then it makes sense to go be a monk. But if you think life is about living life, then
yeah, and then
that's
you put in the
escaping it.
monk story and you're marrying some guy or girl and you're like, that's cool. That's actually what I was thinking, like, what about all the monks, people who decided to be monks, they never met the partner, you know, and that person who loves them, and that's why, you know, your life developed like that. What if your love life is so it's actually that important, like it's actually that such a huge influence on your decisions in your life. Like if you never been loved, then like for you, yeah, it's fine to go for spiritual, right? Or write a PhD, but don't think about it with a partner. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. What do you think is the purpose of love? Why do we fall in love?
I think it depends. I think it's different types of things. I think that when we listen to music or reading the books, in a lot of cases, it's not about this pure love. It's about this. It's more like a drug type of love, like when it's when you're really been really cold for a long time, you didn't get this intimacy with anyone, and then you kind of lie to yourself that is the answers. And it's of course not, like in many cases it's not true. It's just your own, like it's special time when you meet the person and you're in that mood to give that person that much meaning of your life, and that person turns like a drug for you because that person associates in your brain with so many things. It's this feeling that I understood something in my life. I see the sense of the meaning of my life in that person. But I don't want to call that love. I want to call that obsession. I want to call like in the Twilights, in was story about this guy who was turning the wolf, that he was getting this picturing the person and then he loves that person. I would call it like that. A lot of movies and songs are based on that. But unfortunately, the thing with that is that after some period of time, you're coming back to your life, you realize that it's a real person and it doesn't really connect to all of your dreams about life or something, and then it's painful. So for me, it's different things what love is about. If we're talking about this, I lost myself, drug level of love, when you really feel yourself intoxicated, then it's not love for me. But when it's really about creating your happiness, making your people around feel better because it makes you feel better, it's about like not living your ego life. That's what I call it. But I think it's just a few people who are able for that. We are way more selfish. I think so, at least.
Wait, so okay, so what is? Can you say again what is this definition of when it's different from being intoxicated to giving, or how would you summarize that?
I think the broad difference is that you don't have illusions about people around you. You see the thing real. You know, it was one coolest phrase I heard, that before you become conscious, you don't know people around you, because all people around you is just your own, the way you want them to see, but you don't see them the way they are. And that's the thing. It's even about your own self. When you have you kind of are not ready to see yourself really, and you don't want to see your friends really, your partners, your family. You just if you don't like the person, then he's the worst. If you like the person, it's the best, and that's the only categories you're going on with. But I guess the real love is about seeing the whole picture, which is way more hard.
Of this one person, or do you think you need to see everything in order to find true love?
I guess everything, because then you're more realistic about your own self. Like you don't say that I'm the queen and he's just my slave, and let him love me because I'm so perfect, and he's like got some luck to get me. Yeah.
And how do you think people can become conscious, other than things like meditation? What else?
Good question. I think life experience. I think when person had some really heavy disease or traumas like war or immigration, I guess, also makes you so much more conscious. I think even kids who went through the divorce of their parents, they were so much more adult, so much more aware about what's going on, like life. I mean, meditation is just when you want to improve yourself, but in reality, the biggest teacher is life itself, and it's not going to leave you alone. It's I mean, maybe some people like live till 40, I don't know, the whole their life without getting any traumas or this kind of big experiences. But most of my friends, the life makes them reflect on things and change their way of being. Like, haven't you seen that people who had some really heavy situation in their background are the most happiest? Because they are like, I'm gonna enjoy this every moment because I've been to hell and I know what we have. Yeah, and the people who didn't have that, thinking like, oh no, I'm not sure. You talk to me the way I want you to talk to me, you know?
Yeah. So do you think that people who have somehow managed not to suffer in this world, if they exist, can still find this consciousness and enlightenment and true happiness?
I think it's even harder for them than the people who went through hell. I think it's harder because you just feel that you're weak. You feel that you're so scared. You feel like every step you make can turn really hell, and you don't have any ideas how to go through that. And the more fear actually overwhelming you, you're becoming really weak because you're really so attached to this comfort around you that you're so scared to lose any point of that. And then you become dependent on that so hard that it's just actually it's kind of sorry for those people who just live all the time in comfort, because they're definitely so much dependent on that.
Yeah, so they become dependent on their safety, basically.
Yeah, but it's like that's in India, you know, that a man has to look for this askeza, they call it like that. Like, you have to go for challenges, you have to really put yourself in the situation when you have to become stronger, because that makes you sleep better, enjoy your life more, and appreciate things you have. That's why I think the charity is a cool thing, because you see that so many people are struggling, then you're like, I'm gonna really appreciate the thing I have. So sometimes maybe you have to make a step down to appreciate the place you are. And now, as I see that so many people are practicing, for example, thankfulness, saying like every day at least 3 things you're thankful for. But that's in basically what's the whole thing about askeza is about. You're going to the place when it's harder, and then you really know how lucky you are with everything you have.
Yeah. So everything is relative. Do you think we can come to a point where you're kind of sustainably or permanently happy?
No, I don't think so.
No, right? Because then you realize that you could be better constantly.
I think it's a dream we have to follow, but I don't think it's possible to reach.
Yeah, I really like this notion of ideals being like this North Star. You follow this idea of perfection, and it's okay that you're never going to reach it, because it will get you to a great place, one after another.
Yeah, true.
But it's hard to let go when we grow up with these fairy tales of happy endings, and then one day you realize that there's no ending.
Yeah, I also think that this endless idea of improving yourself is also pretty toxic. You know, we are surrounded by so many things like sleep better, improve your quality of eating, improve your quality of sleeping, improve yourself so much that you then like just cannot sleep because you're thinking I should do something to become a better person tomorrow. And I think like it will never end. Yeah. If you're not gonna just live now the way you are, perfect, maybe not with the perfect body, I don't know. So it's better to think that perfection will never be reached than you just can do what you can, but live at least sometimes.
Amazing. Okay, I was thinking we could also talk a little bit about how we know each other.
That's a good question.
Random guest in my show.
Do you remember when we met first time? Do you like?
Might have, probably PHH.
Yeah, some party.
Yeah. What was the link though? Like, did we just meet directly, or was it through a friend?
I would say maybe it was Vanessa.
Yeah, maybe. So basically, we studied at the same time at the same uni.
Yeah, we've been, and you were living in the same dormitory as some of the girls I knew.
Yeah.
And I was friends with, and yeah, that's so.
You weren't living there, right?
No. I was renting a room in the flat.
Sorry,
But I was going there.
Yeah. And did we click immediately, or did it take a while? I also don't remember this.
I think I was working, I was studying actually pretty a lot of times. I think that you had more free time going on.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't know whether we could be really spending a lot of time from the very beginning. But I guess we clicked because you see people who see the world from different angles from the beginning when you first talk to them, and that's like you feel like, okay, we're on the same page anyway. And I felt like you're also pretty emotional and struggle with that, like I do a lot. And yeah, I was more ready. I mean, I myself, as you know, also pretty emotional and aggressive, and I get so much negative feedback of being like that. And some people really like it. Some people really like wants to get more my energy, more my, I don't know, all of those kind of things. But I get a lot of bad feedback, and it's really hard to live like that. Like first, when I started to work in Germany, I got my colleagues were criticizing me. I was thinking, I'm goal-oriented person. I'm so persistent. I'm so dedicated. What is the problem? But for my colleagues, I was too tough, too direct, asking too much. And now, when I'm thinking about it, I was for a long time trying to change myself, like to become more calm. And I'm pretty sure I am more calm, but I don't really believe that I could 100% change my personality, and probably I don't want that anymore.
Exactly.
So I probably felt like you also struggling with being more emotional, with not being able controlling this energy you're carrying. And then I know that it's not it's challenging to find people who accept you the way you are and when you're like that, because most of the people are feeling kind of intimidated by this directness, by this honesty, and they feel you like they take you as an enemy, they take you as an aggressor, and I think it's more like their own projections about who you are in their life and why you behave like this. But anyway, for you, it's like the circle is getting more narrowed, that you have less people to talk to. I never complained about not having people to talk to, actually, but I understand that not everyone, like from the beginning, a lot of people didn't like me because I was way too aggressive.
And you know what? I also realized that usually the people who don't like me, if I really think about it, I probably also don't like them. But I was just like really stuck in this, like, oh, why do they not like me, and like seeking approval and all this stuff. And then when you find some objectivity, it's like, why do I want this person to like me? I don't even like them.
But it can be just defensive mechanism when you're trying, like, okay, I will reject you first because I'm not gonna get you.
That's the other option.
You cannot say it so easily. No, I was a lot of times really trying to fix my relationship. I was really like apologizing, saying that I was wrong, and I still have no problem to apologize myself. But I realize also that it's probably simpler for everyone just to go on without going through this situation. I think also I met one girl. She was saying me, like, Sveta, I'm way too sensitive for people like you. And I respect her for being like, for knowing her own personality, for knowing that she's extra sensitive, that like she doesn't even want to be there when person can be honest and direct and those kind of things. And I'm like, wow. And I even tell her, like, that's amazing that you can in advance tell everyone that you are not the person people can share opinions, and because you know yourself. I don't know, it was trauma, it was society, you're just not on that place in your life when you're able for different opinion, but then you know your borders, and that's really cool. And that's what I was like, I really respect you for not putting people in aggressor position, but just avoiding yourself any kind of those kind of conversation, just knowing that you are not able to carry them.
Yeah. And did that actually bring you closer, or were did you just agree not to be close?
I just understood her better. No, I still can't understand those kind of people because I think they are really hard to discuss things with. Because they take anything really personal. For them, really important to be right because they're feeling really intimidated if they anyhow get like counter arguments. Most of the cases, they have really extreme opinions of things and they're like stuck on it and not emotionally ready to open up more. And that's really not really my type. I feel those kind of people at the beginning, but no, I change my opinion almost like depends on my mood in the morning, and I like to discuss things with my friend, and we can have different opinion but still discuss about it, and that's really, it's maybe wrong. I was actually thinking today, but why don't I just talk to something and just like just sense this. I don't like that thing. I like to be gray. I like to be both. I like to challenge ideas. I like to challenge myself every day with something new.
Yeah, me too. And where do you think all this energy comes from that we have? Have you asked yourself this?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I think we're actually attention seekers in some way. Like, why we're doing this, what we're doing now. No, but it definitely plays some role, and not the smallest one, I would say. But other than that, I think that people like us really getting kind of addicted to learn new information. Like people, intelligent people are just drug is information. Like you feel hungry when you don't read the book or listen to the podcast or that's something like it's like a dopamine shot every time you realize you learn something new. And what about energy? Yeah, that's a good question. I think that it's maybe we love life a lot and we really see the opportunities. We really like this different experiences. So that's why we're like, okay, I have to try something more because it's going to turn something cool. We didn't lose the hope on getting the cool experiences in some way.
Yeah.
Would you agree with me?
Yes, definitely. I've actually only just become aware recently that attention seeking might be a component. Even though
you really never saw yourself like attention seeker?
No, like I was very aware of people pleasing, wanting to people please all the time, but I think that's a different thing. I felt like, if anything, I was often uncomfortable with too much attention, and I was like, no, like look away. I want to be on my own. But maybe it's just back and forth. I was also talking to someone yesterday about being an introvert or extrovert, and I realized I'm exactly in the middle. I like only do the extremes. I either need like masses of people or I need to be completely alone. And so maybe there's this alternation between attention seeking and leave me alone.
Maybe it's just healthy balance.
Yeah.
It would be weird if you would be 100% just surround yourself. But I can say that when I'm surrounded by my friends or I'm in any form of contact with them, my mood is so much better. They get me so much energy. I'm getting inspiration from people. I love people. I'm falling in love with people. And then it's happening with me already 30 years that I'm falling in love with people. But they're like, oh, you're so amazing. I want to know more about you. I want to I don't know. It's still happening with me. And I like that part of me, that I'm open. And I'm thinking like, it's so boring to have just 3 friends the whole your life, like, and not meet anyone, not like listen to anyone, not give a I don't know, my friends hate me for being so open, but it's my trait that I just
they hate you, but they love it.
It's kind of like I'm getting energized, and like they give me new ideas to think about, and I appreciate everyone because I learned from all of those people, and I hope they also get something from me anyway. That's why I hope it's not just one side road.
Definitely.
One-way road. That would be something.
Do you think it's healthier to have a dynamic balance, like switching between extremes, or a static one where you're in the middle?
I think the person has to challenge itself the way which he thinks is weaker. Like in my case, when I stay alone, I think that I'm myself really hard partner to be. Like it's always, like when I'm staying with myself, the weather getting dark, the thoughts becoming more depressive. I'm so energetic when I'm in dynamic with people around me, and I'm so getting low when I'm like, not always, but pretty much often getting kind of down with my own self. So that's why I was thinking that I have to work on that. And one of the things I want to try is this really trendy thing, Vipassana, where a person is sitting for 10 days alone, not alone, but in just silence. And because I think that can be really challenging for me, not to read, not to write, not to listen, not to talk, just you, yourself, and your thoughts. That sounds like a challenge. And that's the same way for people who are extremely introverted, which I see a lot. They have to cross it. They have to try to start to become more open to the world, because they're gonna be in the end happier. And I heard it so many times from introvert people who really did it this way, to become more open, that they're all way more happier.
Yeah.
Like it's not just about crossing your comfort zone. It's really for you. It's really gonna make you feel better. Like, just be honest about it. Don't you tell yourself like it's just you yourself. I don't know. Watching Netflix in the evening is your happiness. It's not. And you know it.
Yeah. Accepting yourself, but also seeking the opposite.
Yeah.
That's been a lifelong thing for me. It's like, where do I say, okay, this is the way I am, and I'm going to keep this? And when do I give in to my curiosity of like, what is it like to be opposite to what I am? Because people keep telling me like, stop trying to change yourself, and I'm like, but it's fun. Like, I always feel like I grow through it.
But don't you think it's our inability to just live the life the way it is? It's like we're not able for this stable, settled down thing. Like everyone is
Actually, that's a great point to talk to someone else with. Talk with someone else about. Does this cause you suffering? The fact that we are unstable and constantly changing?
I guess so. I guess we would be better in our career building, in our deeper networking, maybe reaching some goals, if we would not switch so fast between new things we want to learn. We will get a higher quality on the things we do normally. I mean, of course, it's developed us, and of course, we are more interesting people to talk to because we have tried and talked to so many things. But at the same time, sometimes when I look at my friends who are like, I don't know, more stable, and I'm like, well, it has some benefits, definitely has benefits, which we skipping.
I always feel like both halves wish they were more in the other, like, once again.
Yeah, I guess actually I get the feeling as well that they are on their side thinking about our life is cooler because we try so many new things. Our life feels like so exciting. And maybe it is. I mean, I still love my life, even it's not perfect. It's far from being perfect. I still think that a lot of things I've done, I really enjoyed them. And I'm kind of scared to say that I made some wrong decisions. And I think one should not do that. Don't regret, because it's a toxic way. Just try what you can do. And sometimes it's just out of your hands. So you can complain a lot. You can say that you should have done, but did you have a chance? Nobody knows.
Yeah. Like my mistranslated saying from German, would have, could have, bicycle chain. You know the saying? The German
say it in German.
Hätte, Fahrradkette.
Amazing. No, my favorite in German, das Leben ist kein Ponyhof.
Yeah, life is not a pony stable.
Pony what?
Pony
Please,
ride me.
pony. Yeah, so German's cool.
Yeah. So I guess in summary, we don't necessarily suffer more than stable people. I think it's equivalent, right? Just different.
I don't think we are able to compare realities of different people.
Yeah.
At least not now.
Wow, such an amazing conversation. Okay, what do you want to talk about? We said something in advance that we wanted to discuss.
Did we?
Was it being international, maybe?
Oh, integration.
Integration. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I think that we are living in a time when it's so many. This is such a huge expats community, and it's bringing bigger and bigger because it's a big dream of everyone, like to go another country and to build a dream life with whoever you are, whether you're just an au pair girl who want to be like helping some family, or an IT guy, but this is a dream about like in some other place something gonna be different, and I'm gonna find happiness or something.
Yeah.
And you can share because you've been living in a lot of countries. I've been living just in like 3, but what I've seen And maybe because we both are we both see the value in that speaking the language is it's highly important for you to understand the locals. And I saw that these patterns between the people not willing to do that, not able to do that. And it's a few things happening here. It's one thing happening that some like educated expats are just isolated in the English speaking community, which is like talking about American politics, talking about American or like English speaking podcast and YouTube. And then they like have no fucking idea what is going on in the country they live, in the local politics, in the local system, like anyone who is actually living next to you, like you living in totally your own bubble. And that's not healthy, in my opinion. And another situation when you like following a little bit tribalism, and then you are just hanging out with people who are speaking the same language as you are, you know what I mean, like, or from the same region where you are from, or sharing the same culture. Are you here? Because it feels like we have connection problems. You're well. Feels like a stable. You've come back, Johar?
Oh, I'm back. Oh my god. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and then last thing I did this project about speaking Swedish club. I realized that the language is just a tool. The goal you are carrying is just to understand the society, the language of which you want to learn. And people are skipping that part. Not then just saying the language is just an instrument. Is like nothing. Is just not nothing, but you cannot learn, for example, Swedish without learning about Swedish society or Swedish books or Swedish series or Swedish people, because what we are learning, what you're actually learning, is the way they guys communicating inside the bubble.
Oh my god, I love this so much. Yeah.
And then when you're learning German, you're not learning the dead language. You're learning what German people, German-speaking people, are sharing with each other, what they care about, what they're interested in about. And it's not just a separated language. It's so much about those people. And I see that for a lot of people, it's not clear. They're not learning language without like connecting to this culture. Like I'm always saying that it's not supposed to be forced. Find something you like, because it's definitely going to be the music you like. It's definitely going to be the book you like. Like any society or country, despite all stereotypes you could have about it, is bigger. Is definitely bigger. Is definitely, especially when we're talking about big languages like German. Like you can find wherever you want, and especially it's one of the sophisticated language you could ever learn. Like I've seen recently some TikTok, and then in the comments it was like 6 or 7 different ways how to say one phrase but translated to German. And it was already like funny, like how one phrase from English can be translated to German in 7 like different ways. I was like, well, that's a rich language, you know, to speak to. And that's, I think, that's the problem I faced myself, not faced, but those people who I was talking, like practicing my Swedish with, and when I was learning that they're living like 8 years in the country, and I was like, okay, do you know this person? And it was some famous, I don't know, actor. No, I don't. This person, in famous influencer. No, I don't. And I'm like, so well, then you're isolated in your own tribe or in this English speaking, and then you're just not able to make the step and just drawing in the culture of the country you live in. And then I think that's an identity problem of all expats, because maybe some of them still thinking, okay, maybe I will immigrate again. Maybe I will face again this whole thing. So why should I really,
maybe I'll go back home.
Yeah, it's like in a relationship, when you let the guy pay for your coffee, it means like you are emotionally connected. Sometimes you just don't want him to pay because you feel it's nothing. But if you know, okay, well, the next time I will pay, or next time I will cook something for him, you know, then it's interaction or something. Then you're deeper emotionally with the whole thing. But here it feels like they're still don't make this the last step to like really fully
wow. So interesting. Yeah, there's like this notion of indebtedness or sacrifice.
Yeah, like it's your conversation with the reality. You know, when you have some idea and you're serious about it, you have to spend money, you have to be serious, you have to spend your time, and believe me, every time you start something serious, it's gonna come up some dates, it's gonna come up something else, and you have to sacrifice those for the things you believe in. And that's, I think, that the reality works, that it's gonna take it seriously. I don't want to go like this energy level talks. But I think when we are talking about your relationship with the society you live in, you have to be the same serious about it. And at least for me, when I speak in the language and understand what people are talking around me, I feel so much more better. I feel so much more comfortable about that. I know what they're talking about. I know what is important for those people. And it's just different feelings inside. I don't feel an alien. Of course I am. Of course I'm not like 100% the part of all of that thing. But at least I'm into like to 60%. I understand those. And that makes me better than if it will be 30% of going on. What would you say?
Yeah, I'm also really annoyed by people who kind of just spend ages in a country, kind of just dipping their toes in the water and being like, yeah, I don't know, and maybe I don't really like the locals, and then just think, why are you living here? I know sometimes, exactly. Sometimes they say, yeah, but circumstance, I kind of have to because I don't know my spouse or work or whatever. But then that just goes back to my general wish that people would liberate themselves a little more and realize that so much more is in your control than you think. It's like, well, then, quit the job or leave the spouse or have a long distance relationship or whatever. Just seek your own happiness as well and do things. But yeah, I think you definitely have to go all in if you want to become part of a culture. Because like you said, we're never going to be a local. We're always going to be at least 2 cultures. And then when you're in your 3rd country, then you're going to have 3 plus. You're never going to lose the previous ones.
But that's beautiful. That's actually, I find super beautiful. They call it like Medici effect, that when you're like 2 different things of your life doing crossing, and then you have an opportunity to create something new. So I think, for example, when Sweden has so many people with different culture background, but those also integrated in Swedish culture become bigger and richer in those ways. You bring in new words, you bring in new sound, you bring in new way of thinking, and that start to circulate inside the Swedish speaking community, and that makes this community stronger and bigger. Like just compare countries which are homogenetic, when it's just one ethnic group is living there, with countries where it's a lot of ethnic groups. Of course that countries are richer. It's just not the question, even, at least not for me. And I see it's really as a strong advantage of those countries. Actually, I think that culturally rich countries are so much more stronger and have so much more bigger chances to survive than those who are really like narrow. No, we're scared to open, we're scared to integrate, and those kind of things. But we were talking more about the life quality of people who don't want to get into to like speak the language more perfect, or who are learning the language disconnected to the culture or disconnected to the country you live in. When you're learning as a dead language and not really see it as a part of the whole this community.
Yeah,
this is the problem.
Yeah, and also, like I said earlier, that I wish technology helps us to express our mind better. I think it's the same thing with learning a language, because then you understand at this deep level how these people think, and that's the coolest thing. Like just learning German, even before coming to Germany, I had a feeling that I already felt German. I was acting more responsibly, more logically. Had a sense of structure within myself just from the language.
Yeah, so, it's also the question about that you are different when you speak in different languages, like your personality. I would guess we are more aggressive in our native language. At least that's what we felt like. You're more polite, because you learn more polite language from other languages. So you're more polite person in other languages, but you're definitely different in all those languages you're speaking. And that's also interesting.
Yeah. How would you describe Swedish in terms of this effect on your sense of self?
That's a good question, actually. They are, for example, more short in answers than Germans. Like if you ask some simple question to some German-speaking person, it's going to be the whole analysis, like from one side, from another side, blah blah blah. Swedish people are so much short, like that. They also make the sounds, not really the words. That's funny part of Swedish. They are more like they're just saying something. Just imagine the people who have the word silence in their anthem. Like how important is to be silent for them that they even have that word in the anthem and they're saying it. So those people here really, like when they say something, they are like just short and really clear what you mean and what you want to share. And to be silent here is not like is not problem. It's fine. At least I felt it like that based on my experience. Maybe it's just my first impression. Maybe after a few years I would change. But actually, I like it somehow, because I think that the more silent you are, the more value you give to your words, and you're not just washing out the words, but also like you really mean what you're saying. And or when you're saying it was a good example. It was a movie, but actually a Danish one. But I think yes, Scandinavian societies are really have a lot in common. I was watching the movie, and then there was a conversation between a young guy and the woman in the house, and she asked him like, "Oh, you're reading a book. What is the book about?" And he replied, "About a man." And that's it. That was over. And he didn't say anything.
Amazing.
And I was like, it's genius. It's genius. You know, sometimes you don't have to say so much to express yourself. It's a lot of times when the words actually destroying the whole thing, and people understand the whole time. And another example I will give you as a proof, there is one really cool Norwegian movie. In Swedish, it's called Kraftidioten. I'm not sure, but you can try to find in English. And it was a moment when the couple, which lived really, really long together, they are like old, they lost their son, and the woman decided at some point to get divorced from him and leave him. And you see the movie is going on, that the man is coming home, and he sees that is no things left which belong to his wife. And then he understands what's going on, and then he's like slowly moving, looking around, and then he sees the letter like on the bed left by her, and he's sitting on the bed and slowly opening up the letter, and then he sees that it's a page empty one, like she didn't write anything on that. It's just empty. Like the message, I don't have anything to tell you, you know, like, and I'm like, it's genius. It's just genius. Do you really have to say something after like I know that years together? You know what I mean? And that's so cool. It's so different. Like I'm also a big fan of speaking, but I start to like this idea that you don't have to say a lot. If person wants to understand, then maybe they will. But not always you have to convince people with words. And it's an interesting part of this culture.
Yeah. Maybe that's what gave rise to IKEA and all this minimalism. But do you all sometimes struggle in conversation that you have to like keep asking and asking to get stuff out of them, or do they also just share? I mean, this is all generalized, of course. But...
yeah, it's hard to say. You're right that it's pretty generalized, but no, they are pretty curious people, I would say. Do you hear? Okay. Yeah, I would say that Swedish people are really curious. I don't think that I have to. They are not talkative, but if they ask, they are really detailed, and I would say they are more friendly and talkative as well. Like they can, I mean, not talkative, but they can ask things. They can be curious. But I'm as a personality just learning to keep the silence. But of course, I can also fill up all of the gaps just by asking what I want.
Yeah, we could talk forever.
Unfortunately. We have to have time to do some other things as well, right?
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Okay, so one of my standard podcast questions is, where are you at right now in your life journey?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm just enjoying the process, I would say so. I can say, yeah. I finished my studies. I feel kind of satisfied with the things I have and where I am now. And I would not be able to answer the question like, where do I see myself after 5 years anyway? But I'm open for new experiences, and I'm kind of happy and satisfied person anyway. Like I finished my studies and met the partner I love, and like I'm more or less good with family and friends. Of course, it's not that easy to live in a new country, but that's kind of challenge I hope I will be able to go through. And I'm pretty thankful for whatever I have now.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. There's like a little bit of peace and gratitude.
Yeah, like I really catch the Zen, like the way I am, it's so much more calmer. You saw me like
definitely.
Yeah, like you saw me 5 years ago. I was so much more under the tension. It was so hard to just be myself, and now I'm more better with myself.
Do you also feel like you have made your peace with the past?
Yeah, not maybe fully, but to a lot of points. Like I finally start to see how amazing person I am. Stop shitting about myself. That was a big thing.
Oh, girl.
Yeah. Well, thank you for conversation with me as well. We discussed a lot of those kind of things as well with you.
Yeah, through the years, actually. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Also love how organically we just like randomly got in touch and then didn't and then back, and yeah, I like those friendships.
But I think that's the whole point with the life, that it's not like you want it to be, but you can every day you can just do it with the way you want. Like even if it's not developed at some point the way it standardly should have been, blah blah blah. But you every time try to just make it work the way you think it's correct. Maybe you will fail, but you still try to do that. So especially in this world when most of my friends just also left and went to work to different places, it's up to us, and it requires a lot of energy and time to keep the friendship, because that's the modern life condition. You should of course know people around you and be friendly with them, but to keep your friendship with those people who you get connected to now requires more work than it was before. And I think that a lot of people face that thing, unfortunately.
Yeah. Maybe another question for our temperament is, do you have tips for people who have too much energy or anger, how you can manage that? What have you learned?
One of the biggest things in my life happened when I realized the power of breathing. I really think that if I feel like that, or really, really extremely positive, I think is also toxic, and really, really bad. That meditation doesn't work with me now, unfortunately. I hope that in the future it will work better. But what helps me a lot is breathing. Is like either you go hard fully in Wim Hof practice, and it's open, it's free, and you can just do it whenever you want, and you're going 3 rounds, and after these 5 minutes you really feel like a new person, newborn person. Like, at least for me it's like that. You have to be careful, of course. There are some conditions you have to follow, like in cases of you have like blood pressure stuff, you have to be more careful, maybe more slow. But if you are pretty much healthy, it's really good practice for me. But even in the situation when you feel like overwhelmed by something, and you feel like you're not yourself, like emotions are not, it doesn't identify us, not like thoughts either, neither our thoughts, then just try to breathe deep and breathe out. Believe me, just imagine this, when you're breathing out, the whole thing is going out. It works. Like, one of the things I'm sorry about that I didn't know that it's possible to deep breathing, and it's such a strong tool to relax yourself, to switch your mood, to get concentrated, wherever you want. One thing I also like in this meditation center, whatever that we were starting, it was like 1 minute of just breathing. Everyone was closing their eyes and just like concentrating on what you want to do now. And that was like, wow, it's a really good routine to follow, to just get again where I'm now.
Yeah. And what happens then when you had this built up energy and you breathe? Does it stay with you or does it go away?
It depends. I think it's a lot of factors. Sometimes I'm also practicing like cold shower. I like it. It's already gives me so much joy. But I have to say, sometimes I'm waking up so weak inside. Like, I so feel sorry somehow for myself. I'm not able for anything. And then I think you still have to ask yourself. I think that if you really feel weak, to put the cold shower on you, it's a abuse. Like, you're really emotional abusing your own self. Like, you should not do that because you hate yourself, because you destroy your inner kid. You know what I mean? Like, you have to know the balance. Sometimes you feel like a little bit weak, do it. It will give you energy. You're gonna be just exploding afterwards, and you can do whatever you want. But if you feel like, no, today I need to love myself, and today I just need to get a little bit slower, then don't do it. This is the borders between like abusing yourself, like you've been abused as a kid from your parents, but just forcing, or just improving and being able for growing.
Oh my God, that's such a good point. Yeah. I've been on both extremes of following people like David Goggins and all these military guys and being like, yeah, just be super hardcore on yourself all the time.
Yeah, but they're killing the child. They want that. It's different.
And then I've also been on the other extreme of it's actually mainly female influencers who are like, yeah, self-care and make your cup of tea and make your room cozy and stuff. And I didn't like either extreme, because the one just made me become even more sensitive and whiny and didn't get anything done. And the other one was like abuse. I started to react badly to it after a while.
But especially when you're a creative artist person, you should not do that.
Yeah, but how do you know when to switch? That's often an issue as well.
I think that again, then when you start to meditate or doing yoga, you become more connected. It sounds so cliche, actually, when I'm saying
It
that.
really does.
But if you know the difference, you know what I mean about, like, if you really know the difference, like when you really didn't give shit about you, and when you start to feel it, like you really feel like when you're doing yoga, for example, you really attentively going through your body and you feel like, okay, this is attention. This I really like. This stretching is really nice. And then when you're so deep connection with yourself, first you know what is fault in your brain, like which action, word saying to you, what is exactly which really like annoys you, and then you also feel your body is so good. But mostly, of course, it's a bit bad nutrition, bad sleeping, like it's standard things which destroys you from inner. But we're allowed to do them as well. But you have to also understand that it's not you. The down periods when you want to like quit everything or change something is not you. Keep yourself, bring it to the cold, like more normal situation, like eat better, sleep or something, drink water, and then decide what you want. You should also just always remember this down state doesn't identify my life is not shit. I'm still amazing person, even if I feel like I'm shit. It will go back and then you will feel fine. Then you can decide things about your life. But I think the most important is to save your partners from your down period. I think that's really like to save them from your shadow part, like from your really aggressive part. Of course, they will anyway get affected by the whole thing, but in our hands to not them get heavily affected by the whole thing. So please, a little bit softer somehow, because I know I can be awful, and I'm really thankful to my partner that he forgives me, and he knows that, and he's like, I'm not gonna talk to you in this mood, and he's just leaving, and it's so smart because I'm gonna escalate heavily and so fast. But now I'm just trying to leave myself or apologize after I said something really wrong, and it's mostly like really, it's not easy thing to do for me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've experienced both sides of this. Neither was good. Yeah, amazing. Okay. I'm trying to wrap this up. It's so much good stuff. Oh, yeah. I wanted to go back to the point. Why do you think that feeling very intensely positive is also toxic?
Because I think it also makes your perception like unrealistic, and your expectation way too high.
Okay, so you really value like objectivity.
No, you can be happy. It's not like you have to feel bad when you feel happy. No. I'm just saying that you just like, again, as I said, when you start to be connected with yourself, you feel the difference. And in some weird way, those states when you feel super down or super up are similar. And then when you're starting to be attentive to that, you're like, I don't want to be there or there. And mostly when you're really down up, you're gonna fall down. Somehow it's somehow I feel like it's really connected, because you have so much high hope, you're so excited that anyway it's all gonna go normal, and that's gonna get frustrate you so much that you're gonna go down. You know what I mean? That unfortunately it consumes you somehow a lot, I would say. You should not consume so much of yourself for anything. Like even if you're happy for work, you should have to appreciate your family, your friends. You should not forget that there are more things in your life, even the one thing which worked out. You know what I mean? But it's my experience anyway. At least I'm trying to just calm myself down, and to again to see small things, to appreciate small things, to love my family and friends, and so on.
Amazing. Okay, so then my final question for all my guests: if you had the godlike power to change any one thing in the world, what would it be?
Wow, why are you? I don't think anyone can in which kind of mood I am now to reply that question.
Yeah, changes.
Let me think. One thing in the world which I can change, what it be? Maybe I will try to take down the desire of people to distract themselves, destroy themselves. You know what I mean? Like we have this self-destruction mechanism inside ourselves, and it's impressed me so much that people can go so far away with all of those ideas of destroying their own life, their own self. Like, and when you see that the person doing himself or herself the whole thing, then you're like, it's so impressive. Like, how are we able to like you know, the cells function not killing itself when you feel you're not able to survive. I think we humans have that as well, and that's really weird to see. So maybe we need it for evolution. I don't know, but I would not like to have us as society inside. If everyone will take care of themselves, we would be in a better society, I guess.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's beautiful. Okay, so put your Instagram now. Is there anything else you want to advertise in case I start to get a lot of viewers on this?
Wow, I wish you that. That's what I want to say. That I wish you success, and I think that I'm impressed by your hard working and persistent, and I know that it's gonna come.
Thank you.
I'm here to follow and watch myself.
What, sorry?
I'm myself gonna follow and watch anyway. So, and I wish that you're gonna face finally see your success. And get
better hurry the fuck up. Just kidding. Yeah, but anything that you want to advertise that you're working on that you need people?
No, I guess nothing special. And just if they find somehow interesting to what I'm saying, just follow. I don't know whether my Instagram will be funny enough for that. But thank you for attention. I hope you really get some cool ideas from what we talked about.
And we're probably going to do another one of these, I guess, right?
Yeah, I'm always open for that anyway.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay, then I wish you an amazing day, and wait for this recording or whatever you can send me after this.
Yeah, it's now on my YouTube.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Then we see us?
Yeah, it's just going to end the stream.
Yeah, okay.